Greetings. Welcome to From the Hildt, episode 11. I'm joined today only by the Tiger. We're going to be joined by Jake. So I'm going to put Tiger up on the screen. How's it going, Tiger? Today we'll be talking G.I. Joe Goldbricks, a little bit of Lenharrow. Jake was going to do his after action report, but we'll talk about the 8 a bit. But first up, we're gonna run the promo for the G.I. Joe Goldbricks this week, and it'll be in the Bazooka from the Hildt video tomorrow that I'll be doing. So let's check that out. If I can get it to work. There we go. That was a lot of fun to do. The Tiger did a lot for that video, and I appreciate it. Why don't you tell them about how you drew that explosion? I thought that was pretty cool.
I used a marker. Actually, I used my tablet and painted over it. I didn't think it would come out that good. I was looking for a graphic to put on top of it, and I found one, but I couldn't figure out how to get it from that picture on top of the other picture. So I'm like, wait, I think I could draw this, and so I just drew on top of it.
I thought we put together a pretty good video this week. We got one more. We got one more part for Operation Dungeon Siege that will be coming out on hopefully Monday. And it'll be a little longer because it's going to be the finale. But we may do an epilogue in the Joe Takes on the following week. But I'm hoping we can get it all done in the next video. But it's been pretty cool. And at some point, I'll put it all together into one big video and just call it Operation Dungeon Siege and put it up on the channel. So that takes us to talking about our Heroes of Haven's run game that we had on Sunday. Normally, Jake does his after action report, but I'll kind of give it a rundown. The players decided.
But I thought I was.
You can go ahead. I was just going to get you going, but you got it. Go for it.
I was going to do it. So there we were, walking through the deep dark of the cavern, and we heard a noise, and we looked. We got attacked by wild dogs, and then one of our party members decided to tame one. So while she was taming one of the dogs, and the rest of us were struggling getting eaten by the dogs, their owners showed up. Were they deep orcs? Barbarian orcs.
They were just regular orcs.
Oh, they were regular orcs. They were regular orcs.
They were grunts.
Well, they still kicked our butts pretty bad.
You guys are beginning characters. You're not intermediate characters yet. So
we were fighting these orcs and these dogs, and we ended up eating one of the dogs too. Interesting.
Tamed one and ate one.
Yeah, well, I'm playing a big fat cat man who's the owner of a tavern. And anytime we come across anything that is remotely edible, I usually put it on a stick and cook it for dinner.
And one of our players is playing,
it's kind of my MO to we ran into a wild boar once and we ate that. And
one of our players is playing twin brothers, or maybe not necessarily twins. I never can remember whether
they're not twins. They're just brothers.
They're just brothers.
They're based off of Mario Brothers, except they make martial artists.
They're not only they priests, but they're chefs. It's kind of cool. They're chefs. They serve at the church in the village that the township that they're headquartered out of, and work at the tavern as chefs. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, there we were. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah. So my Catman has a tendency to eat things that are edible, like giant spiders, snakes, things like that. So we ate one of the dogs, and then we were pretty beat up from the orcs, and we continued down in the cavern, and we ran into evidence of trolls by somebody stepped in troll dung. And I believe
that was Maria.
For those of you who are a fan of Willow, we actually have that brand of troll. We call them hairy trolls. And we saw a bunch of those and we went, no. And we tried to silently go in another direction.
It may have been better off for you guys to take on the trolls with what you guys ran into.
I do not know, but I do know that we saw a light in the cavern up ahead, and so we thought, okay, maybe it'll be like what we're looking for, because we're still looking for these cultists underground. So we went towards the light, and it was not the kind of light we wanted. It was glowing blobs with electricity coming off of them. And we're like, yeah, we don't want to mess with those. But we saw a ladder across the way, and we're like, well, that's evidence of civilization, so we should go up that ladder. Of course, on the way over to the ladder, several of us got electrocuted and fell down paralyzed. So my character was the big hero because I can jump really, really high. And so I was able to pick people up and jump to the top of the ladder, and I think we just rested there in the hallway. We were just so messed
and that's kind of where we broke it too. That was
yeah. We were just so messed up. We're just sleeping in the hallway, and that is where our grand adventure ends for now.
Well, it was actually a fairly short adventure this Sunday, but we got
it because everybody was hungry. I brought dinner at about that time. Ooh, food, and
then we decided to watch Highlander. So
yeah, and then we decided to watch Highlander. So yeah. We don't always game the entire time, but we gamed like a good 2-3 hours.
It was fun. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Well,
yeah. I have a complaint over here. Come here, you.
Oh, he probably wants to come over in here, but
yeah, come here, complaint. Come here.
Oh,
come here, complaint.
That would be our little Luna.
She's a meowing. You're gonna complain. You're gonna be in the stream. Look, show everybody off. Show everybody off. Ooh, look at me. I'm a big kitty now. Okay, but you gotta go out. Go out. There you go. You can sit on the other side of the camera all you want. You can stay there too.
Well, that takes us to talking about what's going on the channel. Last week we had Joe Takes. We had barbecue from the Hildt, and this week coming up on Joe Takes is Bazooka from the Hildt. We did episode 5 of the Lenharrow Enhanced Edition, where we talked about races. That was actually a really good video that we did. It was live, but we didn't have anybody in the chat. But we had a few people watching, but nobody participated. But we put together a really thorough video about our races for the Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures Enhanced Edition, and I thought it went really well. And that takes us to today. So what we're doing today is we're talking Silverado, the movie from the 80s, our first Western. So I'm gonna start our tribute video for that, and we'll pause it and talk about it as it goes.
if I look at that picture, I can remember that time, and it was a good time for me, and it was a good time for those people, all the people involved. I've gone on to have other great things happen to me, but that movie ranks right at the top for me, as an experience and an opportunity to be in a Western and to have a great character and friendships that were forged. And so it was the big attention getter for me, to be honest.
So that's kind of how I started the video, was with that little clip from Kevin Costner, because I'm gonna switch to the big screen so I can show off the DVD here. I got this really nice gift set. It looks really thick. It looks like you're gonna have a bunch of stuff in it, but you actually don't. It's got this nice little sleeve, and then of course you have the wanted desperados, but they were actually the protagonists of the story. The DVD actually is in the side there with a little booklet. It came with a really nice booklet. They just don't do this kind of stuff anymore. What was odd was it came with the playing cards. I've never ever opened them, but it is. I thought it was really nice the way they put this set together. And I probably never will open these playing cards. I got plenty of playing cards, so that's where we're at with that. So, what do you think of the cast of characters there, Tiger?
Definitely an interesting group of guys. I like how each one was introduced in a different way. It was, I mean, I did see this movie a long time ago, but I didn't really remember it a whole lot. And then, so we watched it big screen style on a projector on one of our big walls in here.
That was a lot of fun. This movie is very cinematic and has wide panoramic shots, and it was really helpful to watch it that way.
Yeah. So it starts with this guy right here, who I thought was David Carradine, even though it's not.
Oh, you mean Scott Glenn, the third from the left and second from the right next to between the Kevins, Kevin Kline and Kevin Costner.
Yeah. It starts with him. And like I said, I thought he was someone else, but because he has a very similar look. Not that he is that guy or anything, but yes. And then he runs into Kevin Kline, which he's an amazing actor. I love Kevin Kline. He could be both funny and serious.
I definitely want to look at some Kevin Kline movies. He's an awesome actor.
He really is. He can be very dramatic, very serious, or he could be hilarious. I loved him in A Fish Called Wanda. He was just off the chains there.
Fish Called Wanda was good, but Fierce Creatures.
Fierce Creatures was even funnier.
Yeah.
Fierce Creatures was even funnier. Same cast, even funnier as Fierce Creatures.
He played a really jerky kind of womanizer part in it, and he was over the top hilarious.
Well, he also played his dad, too. That was really great.
Yes, he did. He played two parts in that movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so he finds him in the desert in his underwear.
Well, long johns, but yeah.
Long johns were their underwear.
They call them underwear in the Old West, yes.
Long johns were the underwear in the Old West. So that's all he had. He had nothing with him, but he was in his underwear.
I think he still had his socks. I don't think he was in his bare feet.
Yeah, he had socks on. He did have socks on. So he had his socks on and his underwear, but everything else was taken. And so, the first character decides to save this dude he found in the desert.
Scott Glenn was playing a character named Emmett, and Kevin Kline was playing Peyton.
Yeah, Emmett seemed to be a very chivalric character.
Yeah, he was the true hero of the West.
Yeah, he was very chivalric. He showed kindness when he got kindness, and would shoot you if you tried to shoot him, kind of a thing. It was a fair fight. He shot first or whatever. Kind of a guy. And then Kevin Kline was playing a character who's trying to turn over a new leaf. He had some kind of shady background. They don't really go into detail what his shady background was, but he's trying to, live a good life. He's tired of that kind of life, and he's trying to live a good life and trying to be a good person. So he definitely feels indebted to Emmett. And then
They
they
became
run
friends
into,
right away. It was really cool.
yeah, and then they run into was it the brother next?
And that was Danny Glover. He came
It
into
was Danny Glover. Okay, so they went to a town, and Danny Glover came into town, and he just wanted what is it? You're just gonna show off the pictures?
I'll just progress the pictures every once in a while. Keep talking.
Okay, so yeah, Danny Glover just wanted. He hadn't slept in a bed or had a drink in like 10 days.
Yeah.
And so all he wanted was a drink of whiskey and a bed to sleep in. However, the town he came into, they were extremely racist. They basically sold him
Old West trope.
Yeah, they basically sold him a bottle of whiskey and then told him that they don't serve his kind. And so some other people, he's all, I just want my drink and a bed. That's all I want. I don't want any trouble, kind of thing. And two other guys in the tavern decided to start trouble with him. And then the sheriff came, and of course they're going to try to blame everything on Danny Glover. But Emmett, being the good guy that he is, said, no, that's not what happened. These gentlemen attacked him. He was
Danny Glover was playing a character named Malachi, and they called him Mal throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody knows, Mal in Latin means bad. It's kind of weird, but
I liked his character.
Oh yeah, he was cool.
And he was really good with the long rifle.
Oh yeah,
he was a good shot with the long rifle. And that was the other thing I really liked about this movie is each particular character had a different style of gunfighting. So like Emmett only had the one gun on the side.
He also did rifles. He kind of had he was the well-rounded gunfighter.
He did do rifles too, but he always did his trusty, 6-shooter.
Right.
And then here you're showing Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner played his brother. And when they meet him, he's in jail.
And he was playing a character named Jake.
He was playing a character named Jake.
Jake liked a lot, Jake Pendragon. So
yeah. So naturally, you have to have a prison break. That's a whole Western trope. You got to have the prison break.
Well, this movie actually got me to like Westerns. I went on to watch a lot of different Westerns because of this movie.
Yeah. The town that they had him being arrested in, they didn't seem to care about justice. They just cared about
murder, whether it was self-defense or not.
Yeah, they didn't care about.
They were going to hang him.
Yeah, they were just going to hang him because he went against their town folk or whatever.
Costner was playing kind of either autistic character or maybe he had ADHD. We're not really sure which.
He was definitely hyperactive. I agree.
Definitely hyperactive.
He loved hanging from the rafters or swinging around. He could not sit still. His character could not sit still.
A very physical character, yes.
Yes.
All right.
And yeah, that's how they all met each other.
Brian Dennehy played the sheriff of Silverado in this movie.
He was a friend of Peyton. He was a friend of Peyton's, Klein's character. And I guess they used to run together in a gang a long time ago. But he went legitimate, as it were, and became a sheriff of Silverado. He was also the saloon owner. He owned the saloon.
He considered it the best of best worlds and called it a little slice of heaven.
Yeah, because he was the sheriff and the saloon owner.
I thought he was a pretty cool character, and I thought Brian Dennehy did a really good job.
Yes.
The surprise of this movie is Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum plays a character, all right. Well, he always plays a character.
He's a gambler in this. It was kind of
a high stakes gambler, so that's why he's got the furs on and everything. He's got the money.
He's one of those little tricky guys too. He had a pop out gun and he had a knife.
Boot knife and one of those pop out guns from his wrist.
And he dressed very flamboyantly.
Yes, because he was a high stakes poker player. He wanted to run a legitimate poker game in Silverado.
Legitimate is so long as he made money. No, I like Jeff Goldblum. He's an interesting actor. John Cleese played this sheriff in the first town they ran into. He was a by the book, letter of the law kind of guy. The jury found Kevin Costner's character of Jake guilty, and so that was it. He was going to hang him no matter what.
Yeah, the townsfolk, they did have a trial, and the townsfolk deemed him guilty. And even though it was self-defense.
A role by John Cleese that not many people would recognize him as, because he was very serious. I mean, I know he plays the straight man in most of the Monty Python and comedy stuff.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the straight man.
He was very, very serious, and he had really he showed his acting chops in this movie. I thought, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, he wasn't particularly a bad guy or particularly a good guy. He was definitely a letter of the law guy.
I think he had one of the best lines in the movie, too. Today, my jurisdiction ends here. People said, you idiot, they've shot everything they made at.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like Tiger said, he was definitely a by-the-book guy. Letter of the law.
All he cared about was the peace of his town.
And Jake pointed out that we have in our Lenharrow game, we have an advanced lifestyle skill called Long Arm of the Law. And in my subconscious, I remember that I kind of based it off this character and how he acted.
That is true. He got together a posse to chase them real quick.
Real quick, yeah.
Like they were on their trail right away.
And this other guy's one of his deputies. He was just kind of a bit part in it. But I like this picture because it just showed how quick he was.
There he is in his underwear.
Yep, I had to get a shot of it. I may even have one more, but that's where
he got this stupid hat from. I think he got it from Emmett, didn't he? Emmett had a spare hat.
Yeah, he went in and got whatever cheap clothes Emmett could afford because Emmett wasn't very rich either. But then he ran into his old buddy Cobb, is what Brian Dennehy was playing.
Yeah, Cobb tried to hire him in this town, but he said, "No, it's not what I want to do. I don't do any of that kind of stuff anymore." And he's all, "Well, what do you do?" He's all, "I'm not really sure yet. I'm looking around for it," kind of a deal. So, also, Emmett gave him, I think it was $1 coin. I'm not really sure. It could have been a $5. I don't really know. He gave him a coin, and the first thing he does, instead of buying clothes,
well, he ran into somebody who had his horse.
Yeah, he had ran into somebody who had his horse, and he immediately went into the gun shop to buy a gun.
He tried to get a good gun, but he couldn't afford it. So give me whatever I can get with that.
And the gun immediately falls apart. It was really funny, but he was still a good shot. He was a very good shot, and even though the gun did fall apart and stuff, he was able to use it and shoot it with quite the bit of accuracy.
The scene also showed that he was calm under pressure. I mean, he took a bullet through his legs, through his underwear, and he didn't even flinch. Oh my gosh,
right?
I think I'd have flinched a little bit if a bullet got that close to, down there.
I would. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I'm sorry. If a bullet went down towards your crotch, who would not at least flinch or move?
Oh, he didn't even flinch. He just took aim.
He didn't even do the typical cover it up or anything.
Nope. There he goes with his horse. He loved his horse.
He loved his horse. So we all gotta have a kissing scene with the horse here.
Kevin Kline, when he does a role, he gets all into it. No matter whether it's a dramatic role or if it's comedy, he's all in.
He's all loving on his horse, and the constabulary here, which is these soldiers here who are in charge of the town, they asked if it was his horse, if he could prove it was his horse, and I'm like, can't you see how much this horse loves me? But then again, he did have a secondary proof with his name being on the saddle, so but it was really funny just to see him like this, him and this horse just making out, I guess. I don't know.
Almost, yeah. But the horse was responding to him on camera. It was cool. It was a well put together scene.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if he ad-libbed the line, "Can't you tell this horse loves me?"
I don't know. You never know what's been ad-libbed and what's been set on
Movies are, that's just how movies are.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna mute the sound of the video. I don't know why I've been playing the music.
I don't know.
I keep forgetting I can do stuff like that.
But this is when they run into the first town.
Yeah.
He was still had no clothes on.
And then where they left, he's like, where are you heading? He's all, where's the Pinto going? He was going wherever that horse was going.
Right. I think I'd have said the same thing.
So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed how the cast of characters got together.
Yes, when the four of them were riding together, that was an amazing.
They all finally got together, and the shot they got with them all four on horseback together was just amazing.
Right, cue the epic Western music right here. You know.
Well, all I can manage is some Never Stop Us, because that's what I have permission to play on my channel all the time.
True. But what I really liked about this too, it was almost game-like with us, like you were gathering your party members together, as it were.
Well, it's kind of inspired us. We've been thinking about doing a Old West kind of style campaign, but with magic.
Well, that would be interesting.
We're thinking about doing that.
I don't know who wants to run that though.
It would probably end up being me.
Well, I don't want to run anything on camera, that's for sure.
Oh, no, we wouldn't have to do it on camera. No, that would be something we do at home, but it would still be fun. We'd have to play test the crap out of it.
True. I've been thinking about running something, but I'm not sure what yet.
This was before he got his hat back, Kevin Kline. He still had that dopey hat.
That's a very strange hat.
But he ran into a dude in the bar where Kevin Costner's character was in jail, and he came up to him and basically demanded his stuff back. The guy had his hat and his gun.
Yeah.
And in self-defense, he shot him. The guy went for his gun first. He basically demanded his hat and his possessions back. And so in self-defense, he shot this guy, and he ended up in jail right next to Kevin Costner. It was kind of cool.
That's kind of how they ended up taking him with them.
Right. Because he was like, I'm out. If you're going to go break him out of jail, I'm out. But he was in now. And then Danny Glover's character, when they finally got back to Silverado, his father, the reason why he was going there, owned property there.
Yeah.
And he came home to a very sad homecoming. The house was burnt down. His mother died, and his sister had run off.
The rich cattle ranchers hired some thugs to run them off their land, and
they were just trying to farm. They weren't even trying to oust the cattle rustlers. They
wanted to use the land to let their cattle eat off of it and roam around.
Which is sad, because he had enough money. He could have just bought the land before they even got there. They'd been there for more than one generation. So it was like, why didn't they just buy that land before that people moved in? Because he was selling the land, and
probably because they wanted it for cheap.
Yep, he wanted it for cheaper, probably. Yeah, he was definitely the owner of the cattle ranchers was definitely a bad guy. Not necessarily the bad guy. I would consider that to be Brian Dennehy. I threw this one up here because this girl, her husband was killed near the beginning of the movie, and both Kevin Kline and Scott Glenn's characters kind of pursued her a bit throughout the movie, but then not really at the same time.
But they didn't want what she wanted.
And Roseanne Arquette is a pretty well-known star, or was.
Yeah, she wanted to settle and farm the land, and neither gentleman wanted to do that.
And that's what she told Kevin Kline. She says, people see me for my looks, and then when they find out what I want, they go away. And she was right. In both of their cases, actually. Well, with Scott Glenn, it's because he had already had plans to go to California, but whatever. But she was an interesting enough character, and I found a picture of her. I was like, oh, I tried to get as many of all the characters as I could. Case in point, the bartender of the saloon that Kevin Kline ended up taking a job in from Cobb.
I love her. She was my favorite character in the whole movie.
And her nickname was the Midnight Star, which was the name of the saloon.
Yes, I adore her. She was fantastic. She was smart. She was witty. When there was an emergency in town, she took charge and was telling people what to do, and they were doing it. And she was getting things done. She was
small in stature, but big in ambition, and
right.
she was
I
large
almost
in
feel
life.
like she would have made a crate, like, I don't know, mayor or something. I don't know what they had in the
Yeah,
the
and who
slaughter.
knows what she was afterwards? The character. I,
That's true.
I like how when Kevin Kline first met her, she was really short. Then she went around to the back of the bar and suddenly was his height. And he looked over and she had a ramp and a platform there. So she said, "Life is what you make it." It was pretty cool.
That's true. But yeah, she was very pivotal to Kevin Kline's character for sure.
Well, I agree with that. And she played such a delightful change of pace for the whole movie
Right? She's all like, "What's wrong with us?"
because they both like to be in a saloon. Yeah, this is when Jeff Goldblum's character showed up right after the former head of the gambling area the saloon was, and then Kevin Kline's character took his place and as the gambling operator at the saloon.
Yeah,
Manager or
he had
whatever.
showed up just as a man got killed outside the saloon.
And if Kevin Kline's character Payton hadn't showed up, Cobb probably would have hired Jeff Goldblum to do that job.
Probably.
Now that I
Probably.
think about it. All right, so other than that, Jeff Goldblum's character was interesting enough, but that's about it. And then Jeff Fahey would play one of the bad guys in it, one of Cobb's deputies, who he got out of prison to become his deputy. He also used a ride with
He
Payton.
had a number of deputies.
Yep.
He didn't have just one deputy. He had a number. Basically, the gang was his deputies.
Later on in the movie, after some of them had died, he goes, "We're running out of deputies." And didn't even care. They were like his friends, and they were all dead. He's just, "We're running out of deputies." Very Western-y trope, and it's things about Westerns that I love, And I don't know. There's these scenes that they had where they had the four members of the cast together in certain key moments, and it was always four, And I just enjoyed that about the way the director Lawrence Kasdan took this movie. He just put things together so well, cinematically and dramatically. At least I thought so. Okay, I guess we're moving on to the next slide.
I have no words.
You have no words?
This is like the same picture, but different
angle. Yeah, so I'll just go on. Next one. When you play the tribute video, it has its own thing. It kind of flows together really nice, like they just switched the camera angle. It's kind of cool. And here,
now, this is Emmett, and he was practicing because he knew there was going to be a gunfight. And a couple of the deputies, I don't know if they were the deputies or the...
Well, they could have been both. They were mixed up with the cattle raiders.
Yeah, I think they were mixed up, honestly. The gang members and the deputies were kind of mixed up together, but they did a really cowardly thing and waited till he shot all of his shells and then jumped him.
Out of his rifle and his pistol. Then they came and jumped him, yeah. And he had put his rifle back on his saddle and then went and fired all his shots out of his pistol. And then was heading back to his saddle to reload, and that's when they came up and took him with laughs and stuff. They almost killed him, but Danny Glover came up.
Well, yeah, they used the horse, and I thought that was actually very clever.
He had this knack for jumping down on his back and then shooting people as they came at him.
With deadly accuracy.
With deadly accuracy, yeah. And he could do it left or right-handed, but he seemed left-handed.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, Kevin Costner's character, he fought with the two pistols. He was a two-gun slinger.
Yeah.
And he could fire with either hand. He was ambidextrous.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Like you said, they had their own unique way of doing things, and it was kind of neat to see them all together.
Well, they were all different gunmen. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, that they weren't like the same kind of typical gunmen.
Yeah, this is where Brian Dennehy's character was kind of trying to convince Payton not to get involved. He basically did it in a really bad way. He threatened to kill the bartender Stella if he did anything. But got to have some drama. It's a Western, But it was the way this movie and the way it was.
Well, that's because he knew if his friend Payton got involved, he was really good at his
right. Well, he knew him. I mean, they hit road together. He knew how good of a gunfighter he was and how quick he was. He didn't want to go up against him. He really didn't. That's why he kept trying to get him to not go up against him.
Yeah.
That fire in the background is when they torched Emmett and Jake's sister's house and almost killed them, her and her husband, and then kidnapped their son, Augie and Jake's. Augie was the name of Jake and Emmett's nephew. And they had little scenes with him, too, where Jake was trying to teach him how to be a cowboy. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like this. This is a sweet scene where they're...
They were about ready to drink the good stuff.
Yeah, they're putting water in the whiskey, and
he was complaining about it. And she goes, "What? You think I didn't put too much water? I don't think you put enough."
Yeah. So, this is the good stuff. So they were getting a drink of the good stuff here. It's kind of a fun little scene.
But yes, there was cards played in the movie. But why they included a deck of cards?
You think they would have done that in like Maverick or something?
Yes.
Maverick was about a gambling tournament event.
You know what would have been cool is if this came with one of those little mini guns that Jeff Goldblum had that was a cigarette lighter.
That might have been cute. It definitely would have made more sense than a deck of cards, but you know.
We're getting in near the end of the slide reel here, but you know,
you have to have a typical standoff, you know, at high noon, as it were.
It pretty much got to the point where it was almost high noon. It was the main action happened at the end of the movie.
That's what I said. This scene right here was pretty much the typical Western high noon face off or whatever.
Yeah, they had all come together, gone to the McKittrick Ranch and saved the nephew, and then they're all headed into town to finish everything off.
Yeah, you're all giving away the movie.
I'm not giving away the movie. There's so much more. I could talk for hours about this movie and never give it away.
I don't know about that. Aren't you supposed to warn spoilers?
Well, you know, we're talking about a 40-year-old movie. I mean, almost 40-year-old movie.
Trpeople,
you know what? There is a link to this movie to Pluto, and where you can watch it whenever you want. And as of today, it's still good. So we'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, you can watch it for free on Pluto.
Cool.
I love the way once he got his hat, his guns, and once he got money again, he dressed fantastically. As a cowboy, he looked good. But yet he wasn't flamboyant.
You know, good guys wear black.
Yeah, well, it's true, but he also wears gray. I think he was the only one in the movie who wore a gray jacket. Now that I think about it.
Most cowboys
had 10 and
most cowboys wear those dusters, the brown.
Yeah, with like Brian Dennehy, he wore that duster when he was traveling.
Yeah, well, that's because there's a lot of dirt and stuff. You wouldn't have to worry about making it look clean or anything because everything's brown anyway.
Brian Dennehy's cop character wore a black trench coat at the end of the movie, but it was symbolic, I think, anyway. And then, of course, you got to have your.
Didn't you show this picture already?
Nope. This is with the.
Oh no, you're right. This
cast
is a
members and
different
Stella.
one. That's right. This is a different one. You have it with
This
the.
is near the end of the movie.
Yeah. You're right. They were saluting to California. But not all of them went to California.
No, just Emmett and Jake, and that's that. They ended it with them heading towards California. Maybe if they'd done a sequel, maybe I don't know, but it never got one.
No,
they were trying to make a comeback with westerns, and it just never happened.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. You know, they had a really good camaraderie. They must have had fun, these guys, because it seemed like they were real friends. Like
I've got a bit to play here at the end of the video where Kevin Costner sums up how he feels about making this movie.
Okay, but I'm just saying that they seem like they were real friends, though, like in real life, or at least during the filming of this.
I think so.
Because their on-screen presence.
Their
on-screen presence was so well.
Let's hear it from the man himself.
Have really,
I'm gonna put it up like
been happy that they had, and it's a movie that people like to share.
There we go. That was it.
That was your big it.
Yeah, well, there was more, but I didn't want to I didn't want to make the clips too long.
You're fine.
He was saying in that making of, which is on the special features disc on the DVD, that he made a lot of permanent, lasting friendships in that movie.
Yeah,
And
that's what I said. It seemed like they might have actually been genuine friends too.
he was saying that he didn't when he first got that part. He was like, I finally get into Western and I'm playing an idiot. That's how he felt at first. But then he's like, once he
No,
read
no, he wasn't playing
once,
an idiot.
once he read the script though, he said I really started to love the character of Jake. And he said it was a challenge for him to play that role. But he said once he got into it, he was doing stuff off the cuff, and the director kept telling him, "Okay, you can do that, but you can't do that." So there we are. So if you feel the urge, watch Silverado. Like I said, the link is in the description to it being free on Pluto. So we really enjoyed it, and with that being said, I think somebody joined us on the stream. Welcome, but we're about ready to sign off. We're short a person tonight, so we're gonna take his cue. I have another.
Yes, but what
as well.
are we doing next? Do we have a next?
I pretty much did all that. But next week, yes, next week on From the Hildt, episode 12, we're actually going to be reviewing the movie Clue.
Clue.
With Tim Curry and another large cast of characters. So we'll be checking that out, and I'll have a tribute video. And
sounds fun.
This Silverado's tribute video will air at midnight tonight. So
for those of you who do not know, Clue has different endings.
And then after that, we're going to be taking at least 2 weeks off from the Hildt. So we'll be on a little bit of a hiatus, and then we'll keep you updated on when we're coming back. And I'll be doing the Joe takes, and I'll let people know on that. So I guess that's where we're signing off. So for me, go ahead and say goodbyes, and then I'll sign off, and we'll strike a pose.
Strike a pose, huh? Okay.
All right.
When are we striking a pose?
I say, Logan out. End of the broadcast.